This is Ian Lamont, founder of Easy Genie Genealogy Charts and Forms. Today I'm going to show you 3 ways to determine the exact birth date of a male ancestor born between 1850 and 1925 using free records on FamilySearch. If this video helps, please like it and follow me. Let's get started. So we're on FamilySearch right here. And before I get started on the actual searching, I just want to show you the problem that I have. The problem here is John Jack J. Walsh. I know his approximate birth date, 1893, and that was from the 1910 census for Lockport, New York. I don't know exactly when he was born. I don't know when he died, but I'm really interested in the exact birth date because this guy has a very kind of a common first name and last name. And basically, being able to determine his exact birth date will make things easier on. Sometimes it also may make it possible for me to do things like pull another type of record if I have more data about him. So this is what I want to do. I want to find Jack's exact birth date in 1893, if he was actually born in 1893. So when you go to FamilySearch, free to register, no cost, just enter what information you know in these boxes right here. So John J, that's all I know. Last name is Walsh. Possible location. So he's in New York. Estimated birth year, 1893. So this is what I have, and let's see what turns up when I press search. Okay, so first of all, you'll see that there are a lot of John J. Walshes from that approximate time period. And this can be really tricky to try to figure out who is the right person. I think the most important record to start with is actually a military record. And you'll notice that at the beginning of this video, I said people born between 1850 and 1925. There's a reason for that. It's more likely for you to be able to dig up useful military records. Civil War is pretty tough sometimes, but World War I and World War II, sometimes the draft registration cards show up. To find that, click on military in the search results, and you can see there's still nearly 34,000 results. But what we're looking for is the military draft registration for either World War I or maybe even World War II. So let's see what turns up here. Now, the first one that I see is John J. Walsh. He's in the Syracuse area, but he was born in Newfane, Niagara, New York. That's a town that's right near Lockport, New York. And I think this might be a useful hit. So let's take a look at that. So the great thing about FamilySearch is that in addition to indexing the records, they also show the actual record itself. Not all the time, but many times. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so we see John J. Walsh, Genesee Street in the Syracuse area, place of birth, Newfane, and then it says date of birth, March 5th, 1893. I think this could be the right person. Mary Walsh, that's actually the name of his mother, I believe. You can see Mary Ann Tierney, so she would have been Mary Walsh, although it doesn't have any other information. A great thing that I love about these draft registration cards, they also include the signature of your ancestor, and then information such as how tall they were and what color eyes they had, what color was their hair. So this is really, really useful information. Now, keep in mind, this was in 1942. He was born in 1893, so he's 49 years old at this point, so his hair is starting to turn gray. They even have complexion sallow. So this is a useful type of record. That's the first type of record that I like to look for if they actually had to register for the draft. So World War I and World War II draft, I think sometimes you can even get earlier ones, such as Spanish-American War. I think there's cards for that one as well. So that's a very useful type of record. The second type of historical record that you can use to determine someone's exact birth date, if you can't get it on the census return and you don't have access to a vital record such as a birth record, is to look at the marriage record. So let's see if we can find a marriage record for John J. Walsh. So you can see birth, marriage, and death, also called BMD. I'm going to click on that. His birth record won't be on here. I'm familiar with the area where he's from, and you actually have to request the record either from the New York State Department of Health, which is nearly impossible to deal with, or you have to take a look at the actual go to the clerk's office in the town where he was born and try to dig it up. And sometimes they don't have it either. So I have to keep on clicking till I get to New York marriages, because I think he did stay in New York. If I knew that he moved to Michigan, for instance, I would just click on Michigan marriages and see what turns up. Like, for instance, if I knew that John J. Walsh moved to Michigan. Like this is an example where, oh wow, birth 1893. He was married in Detroit. Now, even though it doesn't show the exact birth date, if you click on it, you may be able to determine better information. So let's take a look at what the record looks like. Also, I'm not even sure this is the right person because I don't think he moved out of New York, but just for the sake of argument. So you have to kind of scan through it manually. Oh, here it is right here at the very last one. John J. Walsh, 23. Said he was born in New York. Said he's a performer. But it doesn't give any information about exactly when he was born. So that's not really useful. But sometimes in certain states, in certain jurisdictions, the marriage record actually has all that information about exactly when they were born. So that can be a useful thing to find. Now, let's skip out of that one. There's one last type of record that can be very useful for determining the exact birth date of somebody, and that is a Social Security death record. The Social Security death record often shows the birth date for the person in question, sometimes even the exact birth date. I'm not really sure where it would be. Maybe under other. Yeah, here it is. United States Social Security numerical identification file. So I don't know if that's the right one. Yeah, I don't think it is the right one. So maybe what I have to do here is actually go to search for catalog, because what I want to find is the Social Security death index. Oh, I hate when that happens. Jeez, this is not really good. Social Security death. It's not really. Oh, I know why. Because I'm searching for places. So let's try that again. Social Security death. Okay, Social Security death index. And then United States Social Security death index is available online. Click here. And let's see if I can find it. So again, it's John J. Walsh. We know he was born in Newfane, New York. And birth or death year, we know 1893. So let's see if he shows up. Because if you, basically for most jobs, starting I think in 1935, Social Security, they actually maintained a database of your earnings so they could track to how much you should get paid once you retire. So let's see if we can find it. John J. Walsh. I see a lot of birth for other dates other than 1893. Maybe I can narrow that down. Birth year from 1892 to 1894. And then search. Get rid of that too. Now I don't know where he died. That's part of the other problem. So you can see that some... no, this is not it. I don't see him. Interesting. Okay. Well, he didn't turn up, but basically, let's say it was this person right here, John Walsh. And sometimes what you find is the exact birth date. The other thing that you sometimes find on these records is where they were living when they died. And usually it's shown as a zip code, but by basically triangulating the data, like, okay, we know he was born in March 1893. We know he died in Syracuse area, and you have a list of the zip codes. Maybe you know actually roughly when he died. You can zero in on the exact birth date for this information. One thing about the Social Security Death Index, it's only about 80% complete on FamilySearch. And indeed, I think our John J. Walsh, he didn't show up on here for whatever reason. It shows that he was unemployed in 1942, so I don't know what happened to him. But that is a relevant fact, and maybe he doesn't exist here. But the other information we found, for instance, for the World War II military draft record, that's really gold. It can really help you find information that you wouldn't otherwise be able to find, including the exact birth date and including things like what color his eyes were. So that's how I use FamilySearch to find the exact birth date of a male ancestor. If this video helped, please take a moment to subscribe to get more genealogy tips. There's a link in the description to download free genealogy PDFs as well. See you next time.